Hey, shalom, shalom. All right, first and foremost, honor of all praises, honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushad, Bahashem Chagadash, double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutation to Yakim and to the elect that are scattered across the four corners of this earth, pushing the truth and faith and in all sincerity. I'm the brother Shamala from the GMS Youth Camp, and this lesson is going to be entitled, If You See Wickedness, Better Say Something. All right, and this lesson is inspired from me reading what's that? First Samuel, the second chapter, dealing with Eli and his sons Hophni and Phineas, and how they were wicked, right? And the proper things, you know, that needed to be done wasn't done concerning that situation, and it just ended up all bad, right? But I'm just using that situation, applying that, to anything, even with us, right? Because if you know of something, right, you can't be that person to be like, all right, well, I'm just gonna let them do that. It ain't me, so I'm just gonna, we just gonna see what happened. He just gonna he on his own. Now the scriptures, is totally against that, right? Especially if you consider this man as a brother, right? And in the scriptures there are certain sins, right? There's sins unto death, and there are sins that you can have, a sacrifice for. Right? So I mean, brothers really shouldn't, shouldn't be out here operating, in sins worthy of death, purposely. Right? But you know, for the most part, it's gonna be things, that's out of our control. We're in the flesh. We're gonna mess up. Things like that happen, bro. You know, that's normal, right? But nobody should be out here, committing adultery, right? But yeah, man. So we're just gonna get into this lesson. I'm gonna start here in the book of Leviticus, the 5th chapter, verse 1. It says the law of guilt offerings. It says, and if a soul sin and hear the voice of swearing and is a witness, whether he has seen or known of it, if he do not utter it, then he shall bear his iniquity. Now let me check on this real quick. Right. NLT, if you are called to testify about something you have seen or that you know about, it is sinful to refuse to testify and you'll be punished for your sin. Right. So it's basically, you gotta say something about it. All right. You see any type of weakness. This is how we got down, man, in Israel. And this is what we coming back to. You gotta you gotta voice that. All right, because if you don't voice that, hey, you basically a partaker in that. All right. You know, just like Esau, I can't really think of the name right now. Like if somebody was basically robbing a bank, right? And you hanging with these people, or you in the car with them, right? You couldn't, you ain't did nothing, right? But you with them, right? You going down too, right? Because you keeping company with them, you know. And it's kind of like the same thing as if you don't say nothing when you see wickedness. It's like, hey, it's basically like you don't see no problem with it, and if you don't see no problem with it, then you a problem. And both whoever is committing the act and you gonna be dealt with by the Lord. All right, this is Deuteronomy 17:2. If there be found among you within any of thy gates which Yahweh thy power giveth thee, man or woman that have wrought wickedness in the sight of Yahweh thy power and transgressing his covenant, and had gone and served other gods and worshipped them, either the sun or moon or any of the hosts of heaven, which I have not commanded, and it be told thee and thou hast heard of it, and inquired diligently, and behold, it be true, and a thing certain, that such abomination is wrought in Israel. Then shalt thou bring forth that man or that woman which hath committed that wicked thing unto thy gates, even that man or that woman, and they shall stone them with stones, all right, till they die. All right, so this will be the process that will have to take place back then. If someone transgress, the covenant of the Heavenly Father, serving other gods, all of these things, that is, abominable to the Most High, right? A judgment has to be issued, and these people have to be put to death, right? Simple, simple as that, right? According to the law, right? It says the amount of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death, but the amount of 1 witness he shall not be put to death. The hands of the witness shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterward the hands of all the people. So thou shalt put the evil away from among you. So the person that's seen it, the witness, right? Hey, you take part in it. Okay, you seen it. So, you gotta be the one to, carry out that judgment along with the rest of everyone else. Right? Because if you a witness, you got to carry that out, right? Because even though the law says, if a person does a certain thing, they got to be put to death. But you brought up the situation, you seen it, right? So you gotta have that courage, right, to, like I said, carry out that judgment, right? But this is and yeah, and it was no negotiating about it, right? If you seen it, you had to do something about it. Like we just read Leviticus the 5th chapter. Hey, if you didn't, then hey, it's on you too, right? Leviticus 19 and 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt anywise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. So if we see one of our fellow brothers, right, in this truth going off, hey, you gotta say something. Right? Because if you truly love him, you are going to warn him about the path that he's going down. Right? And basically pull him from that destructive path, from the path that's going to lead unto his destruction, back into the ways of life, right? By giving him the rebuke, right? By, not only tearing them down, but building them up, right? Just being a brother, that's being a brother, right? That is being a brother. I said that kind of fast, right? But yeah, doing all of that is being a brother unto him. And even though it might seem uncomfortable, right? And it might, kind of make you feel, a certain way, especially like if you cool with the brother and you tight with the bro. But all that got to be put aside, and that's why we're going to get into 1 Samuel 2nd chapter. A couple of verses read in there the judgment, because hey, these was Eli's sons. All right. But yeah, you gotta say something. All right. Whether if this an actual man that's sincerely fucking up, or just a nigga, right, that may be amongst you. You see, hey man, you gotta tell him straight, because the Lord gonna reveal it. But you could be the one that the Lord can use you to reveal that and to bring it to light, because you done seen something, you done seen some nigga shit, right? And hey, you gotta speak up on that, because you gotta remove that from you, because it's gonna be like a cancer, right? And that shit will spread, and the Lord will, you know, play the count, right? Because of that one individual. Like he'll start messing up everything. Right? That's how, even back then we'll go to have certain wars with different nations. If there was a wicked person amongst us, hey, we'll be getting our ass whooped. Excuse my language, right? We'll be getting whooped, getting tore up during the wars until that wickedness be removed. All right. and you just you really got to handle the situation, according to your spirit, right? Because you might not be that person, that rebuke and have like that loud, rowdy spirit, right? Everybody ain't like that. But the point is, just saying something, right? Excuse me if I'm getting a little long winded, right, with my speech. But this is First Timothy 5:20. Them that sin rebuke before all, the others also may fear. So it's basically like a custom of ours, rebukes. You see that it was written in the law, right? And certain things, man, you're gonna have to, like I said, rebuke before all. Certain things are gonna need to be said, right, in front of the congregation. So so they wouldn't, take the same steps or make the same mistakes that the individual made, so that they can avoid that, right? If it's something like really, really serious, like, yeah, everybody got to hear this, right? And so that they can fear, on the judgment, that might come from that or what might happen, right? But yeah, let's get this. First Samuel, right? It says, now, First Samuel 2:12 says, now the sons of Eli were the sons of Belial. They knew not Yahweh, was basically Belial. You can basically say Satan. Right. Now let's see. Baal Ya'ala. Right? Or Baal Ya'al. You see, but worthless, good for nothing, unprofitable, wicked, right? Ungodly, right? But like I said, basically like Satan, a demon, right? He says good for nothing, base fellow, right? Good for nothing niggas. And this is basically what you become, or what you are, and you're Israelite, and you ain't, your heart or your mind is not towards the Most High. Right? You're basically a child of Belial or Baal, Satan. Right? But it says, and this is dealing with Hophni and Phineas. He's gonna get name dropped, a little bit down here, but yeah, let's just keep reading. Right? It says, and the priest custom with the people was that when any man offered sacrifice, the priest servant came while the flesh was seething with a flesh hook of 3 teeth in his hand, and he struck it into the pan or the kettle or cauldron or pot. All that the flesh hook brought up, the priest took for himself. So they did in Shiloh unto all the Israelites they came thither. So they were getting over it. They were stealing the sacrifices, right? Because the priests, they had their portions. The Lord would tell them, hey, you get this on certain sacrifices. Hey, you get this. You do it this way, you take the fat, burn it, this and that, right? So the priests had their portions on their, how can I say it? The Lord had the portion of that sacrifice already kind of like measured out, like, hey, this is what you get this part of it, right? This is for you. All right. And basically they was basically taking, they said they took a flesh hook of 3 teeth in his hand, and it said, if you look in the NLT or something like that, so like a fork or something, right? With that 3-pronged fork, and they'll put it on the meat and shit. Whatever come up, they take that. They like, shit, it's mine. So they really wasn't, adhering or hearkening onto the law. They basically were doing what the hell they wanted to do with the sacrifices, right? Because you being in a priestly position like that, I mean, you feel like you got that authority, right? Because hey, because what did the Lord say about the tribe of Levi? Levi, like, yeah, right? Join to me, or join unto me. So all of the tribes had inheritance, but Levi, because hey, the Lord said, this is, hey, I'm the inheritance. All right. So you probably had certain dudes. They like, shit, man. Hey, I'm that dude. So they started, probably they start feeling themselves. Right? It says, and he struck into the pan or kettle or cauldron or pot, all that the flesh should brought up, the priest took for himself. So they did in Shiloh unto all the Israelites that came thither. Also, before they burnt the fat, the priest's servant came and said to the man that sacrificed, give flesh to roast for the priest, for he will not have sodden flesh of thee, but raw. Right? And if any man say unto him, let them not fail to burn the fat presently, and then take as much as thy soul desire, then he will answer unto him, nay, but thou shalt give it me now, and if not, I will take it by force. So, because the fat, it says that the fat belonged to the Most High, right? You go to Leviticus, the 3rd chapter, all of the fat was supposed to be burned and, give it to the Lord, right? And you will have Israelites be like, hey, look, I'll burn the fat first, then you can take what you want. But he said that the one dude would be like, hey, I'm going to take it by force, right? And it has to be, Hophni, right? Because when you go into his name, Chapanya, it goes into fighter, right? And when you look up the definition for his name, if it comes up, I'll pull it up, right? It brings up boxer and this and that. So this is a dude that's real physical with his hand. He knew how to fight, right? So he threatening dudes like, hey, bro, I'm gonna take that. They probably knew this man. Hey, this man got hands, all right? But yeah, Hophni, Chapanya, right? And it says, wherefore the sin of the young men was very great before Yahweh, for men abhor the offering of Yahweh. All right, now we can jump down to verse 29. All right, it says, wherefore Kiki, because basically, you had Eli, he rebuked his sons. You see, he was rebuking them, but no further action basically was taken. All right. So you can kind of say that he was kind of taking it too easy on them. Right. Because what they did was it was foul and worthy of death. You stealing from the sacrifices. Right. And then it said that they were sleeping with women, right, in the temple. Right, that they were sleeping with the women, that was assisting right at the door of the tabernacle. All right, so they was wilding, right, and Eli rebuked them, and it said that basically the Lord didn't allow them to listen to him because the Lord wanted to kill him. All right, because that was the punishment. You gotta go. All right. But it says, wherefore kick ye at my sacrifice and at mine offering, which I have commanded in my habitation, and honors thy sons above me, to make yourselves fat with the chiefest of all the offerings of Israel, my people. All right, so he said, you honors thy sons above me. Hey, because he was taking it too easy on them. And you knew what needed to be done. All right, being the high priest. All right, it said, wherefore Yahweh Paul Israel said, I said indeed that thy house and the house of thy father should walk before me forever. He comes out of the line of Aaron, right, Eli. But now Yahweh said, be it far from me. For them that honor me, I will honor, and that is despise me shall be lightly esteemed. Behold, the days come that I will cut off thine arm and the arm of thy father's house, and there shall not be an old man in thine house. So the judgment for him, his line, out of his house wasn't gonna be able to be priest no more. You see, and also, they weren't gonna be able to grow old, right? And then you read down, it says even the ones that he did leave to be a priest, they were gonna be grieved for that whole short, time of life that he was gonna allow them to live. All right, it says, and thou shalt see an enemy in my habitation, and all the wealth which the Most High shall give Israel, and there shall not be an old man in thine house forever, right? So out of your lineage, right? Ain't nobody gonna grow old. The Lord is going to be taking them out. It says, and the man of thine whom I shall not cut off from mine altar, the one that he do leave, to be, the priesthood, to serve, right? Shall be to consume thine eyes and to grieve thine heart, and all the increase of thine house shall die in the flower of their age. So they only go, he only gonna allow them to do it just to suffer anyway. It says, and this shall be a sign unto thee that shall come upon. Well, first, let me get verse 33 in the NLT. Those who survive will live in sadness and grief, and their children will die violent death. Right? It says, the only one of you whom I shall not cut off from my altar shall be spared to weep his eyes out, to grieve his heart, and all of the sins of your house shall die by the sword of men. You see? But now it says, and this shall be a sign unto thee, thou shalt come upon thy two sons, on Hophni and Phinehas, and one day they shall die, both of them. All right, so now they gonna die. All right, the Lord said He gonna kill them in the same day. Both of them going. All right, y'all both was doing the crime together, and you gonna do that time together, which gonna be death. All right, and like I promised, you got Hophni, Chapanya. It says pugilist. Now, when you look up this word pugilist, go to define a boxer, especially a professional one. So, hey, he was a professional ass whooper, bro. So, he had to be the one that was, enforcing, all of that, like the scripture said, that they said that basically they were going to take it by force. Hey, this had to be that top guy right here, bro. All right. And when you go into this guy, right, Phineas Payuncus, or Payunicus, it says a mouth of brass, or right here it says mouth of a serpent, right? And a serpent can either, because a serpent can be used for its wisdom, or a serpent can just basically represent wickedness. And we know in this case, it was wickedness, right? So he had the mouth of a serpent because they were speaking wickedness, the thing that they were doing, that they were getting into, right? But you see the judgment that happened on his household, right? Because he couldn't handle this, but it was all set up to the spirit to happen this way. But hey man, the Lord don't play about that. Like if you see something, bro, you gotta say something, man, or it's on you, because once you have seen it, you in it now, you in it. Your eyes have witnessed the sin that is taking place. So now you are in it. Right now, you got everything to do with it, and you got to speak up. All right, because if not, it's on you too. You partaker. All right, it's for all of us. Right, we all got to basically do these things, do those actions. All right, we are responsible for that. All right, so hey, that was a lesson. All right, I hope this was edifying. And with that, I'm gonna say shalom.